Hey guys, David here. Welcome to Digital Outlook, where you're gonna find the best community in all of crypto. In today's video, we're talking about the confident demand to expand. So guys, without further ado, why don't we get to it? So guys, right now, we are seeing a lot of major stuff happening all around the digital asset space. Of course, you know, we have the SEC and working out that Kraken deal, because that's what it is, guys. Hey, this isn't enforcement action. This is Kraken making a deal with the SEC for a $30 million slap on the finger fine in comparison to the amount they actually got out of it. But of course, you're seeing all of that fear, uncertainty, and doubt being thrown into the system there. Then of course, you know, you've got all of these rumors about Ripple potentially working with Visa that could, you know, drive the price to $100. People don't know if that's even true or fake or whatever. And then, you know, you have people purporting to see, you know, patents that the Bank of America has filed showing that they're going to be utilizing Ripple's distributed ledger technology, of course, in their cross-border payments and in software applications. But guys, in truth, I want you to set aside all of that kind of speculative stuff, whether it's FUD or fact. Just set it aside. I want you to ask yourself a question. And this question is a big deal. It's a real tell. When you consider Ripple and their utilization of XRP, ever since this lawsuit was filed back from what, December of 2020 till now, ask yourself this question. Has the ecosystem of XRP, the XRP ledger, and Ripple expanded, or has it contracted? Well guys, I think the evidence is pretty clear that it has expanded, and how. I mean, we have watched Ripple open up major offices around the globe. We've seen them do that in Ireland in order to reach the broader part of Europe. We've watched them open it in the Middle East and in North Africa, with Naveen Gupta coming out and basically declaring that. You're watching them work on the Digital Pound Foundation, the digital dollar. You're watching, you know, countries like Montenegro just recently came out and said, hey, we want you to help work on our central bank digital currencies, and on and on and on. And then you do have partners like the Bank of America flat out coming out and saying, hey, when this whole case settles, we're using Ripple's on-demand liquidity for our cross-border payments. Now, on top of that, guys, look at the other global banking partners that they've got with the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. In Canada, they're practically with all the major five, you know, Royal Bank, CIBC, TD, on and on and on. And of course, here in America, well, not just the Bank of America, but there are other banks certainly working with Ripple. And you can see that this ecosystem has absolutely exploded. And then during those last 2 years, Ripple as a company themselves came out, paid all their VC money back, gets a valuation of what, $15 billion plus, you know, for a unicorn that has not even IPO'd. Truly fundamental, absolutely amazing. Now, why is it important to ask yourself this question and get an answer like that back? Well, the reason it's important, guys, is look at the landscape. If you're just looking at sentiment and what it is now, sentiment is down across the board on all assets and, by the way, asset classes. Look at equities. Have they dropped? Have they fallen significantly? Yes, they have. What about our commodities? Well, we're seeing a little bit of a pump, but nothing really super major like you would be expecting. You're not seeing major pumps in real estate. In fact, real estate is preparing itself for probably one of the biggest hits that it has gotten since the 2008 crisis. And of course, in digital assets, you have seen a big hit come along. Now, a lot of people use that to kind of say, see, it's nothing. There's really no chance that this is going to actually go anywhere. And you're just wasting your time, energy, and effort on investing in XRP. Of course, that's what they say. XRP has probably been one of the most hated digital assets in this digital asset space than you could really shake a stick at. I mean, with all of the Bitcoin maxis, and then of course, you know, any other projects that may compete with Ripple, and the FUD that gets thrown its way, but yet the ecosystem has literally exploded in such exponential ways and expanded across the globe that you cannot deny the fundamental analysis of what you see. I mean, just take a look at it and determine for yourself, is this really growing? And of course, the answer is going to come back. Evidentially, it is. And all of that information is out there and available. And that's what should be really in your mind for the long term. Because yeah, in the short term, you're going to see all kinds of fluctuation and everything like that. Remember, we are in probably one of the most volatile spaces that you could possibly invest in. But it is that same volatility that actually brings life-changing wealth. Like, what do you think that $5 13 years ago being invested into Bitcoin, that anyone in their right mind would have believed that that was going to 348 million 13 years later, or that people investing early on in XRP and watched it go from what, just under, or just over, sorry, a half a cent to $3.84. Guys, I look at these things, I put the price aside, and what I focus on is the utility. And you are seeing some phenomenal utility coming out of this space. And we literally had heard from the UAE, and I reported that this morning, that they are ready to issue their central bank digital currency. Well, who has the UAE been working with? Of course, they have been working with Ripple. And now what are they doing? They're getting right ready to issue their central bank digital currency. There is no denying that this new digital economy is coming into play. And with the application of ISO 222 messaging standard, guys, listen, you really don't have to be a rocket scientist. Just look at the facts. Forget about price. Forget about all the FUD and fluctuation and the ups and the downs. And I'll tell you another thing. It is kind of scary in a way for you to go out there and every day, just grabbing your phone, looking at the price, grabbing your phone, looking at the price. Why is that? Because, guys, you get so tied to it emotionally like that, that's when people get wrecked. They lose their confidence because, well, so-and-so said thus and such. The price is thus and so. Why isn't it moving, blah, blah, blah? Well, I'll tell you what. And any big moves that I have ever seen XRP make, it has been when it's just tinkering along, tinkering along, tinkering along. And no one expects anything to happen. And all of a sudden, pow! Unbelievable rocket ships. And this time, guys, we're going way past the moon. And in my opinion, we're going to smash into Jupiter. It is going to be astounding and leave people literally gobsmacked. I genuinely believe that. I have never been so confident in the investment that I've got in XRP than I am right now. Wow, I am seeing so many evidences of what's going to happen when this next bull run takes off. And utility is the core driver of this bull run, and not just sheer sentiment like some of the past ones. It is going to be unbelievable. That is my genuine opinion. And so when you're making, your decisions, your confidence can't come from folks like me on YouTube telling you about what their confidence is. Hey, look, I can share my convictions with you. I can share my confidence with you, but I can't give it to you. That's where you need to go out and do your own research, do your due diligence. And that is, go to the websites, read the white papers, go to the partners, read what information they have. And you think to yourself, does this really hold water? And when you find the evidence, be honest with yourself about it. I mean, when you find the evidence that Ripple and the utilization of XRP on a global scale, and you see the interactions with the IMF, Bank of International Settlements, when you see all these major national central banks around the world working with Ripple, literally developing the evolution of money, and ask yourself, do you think that there's going to be an impact and that change is going to be long lasting? Well, hey, it doesn't take too much to figure that one out. Look, I have missed so many opportunities because of my ignorance, And either it was oblivious to me or I was too prejudiced to actually see it come to pass. You know, I was looking back there in the days when computer was first coming out, home computer, and of course I loved it. I was like really mesmerized by the technology. Well, that had the impacts to literally change the financial system of the way in which the world works. It was really something else. Then, of course, you know, we had the internet. And how many of us were sleeping on the sidelines when the internet was first coming out? I mean, heck, I remember the days they didn't even understand what email really was and would make fun of it on morning talk shows and stuff like that. But look, nowadays, we can see. Hindsight's always 20/20, guys. Hindsight's always 20/20, and no one really wants to believe. But even back then, there were people talking about how this was going to revolutionize how the world worked. But hey, no one paid attention. Few people really genuinely believed it. Well, what happened? Sure enough, they changed the way the world works. I mean, listen, I'm talking to you right now, recording this video on a device, you know, in what, 4K? It's unbelievable. And back then, you know, that was something that was not even possible. In fact, the average person would have had to sink tens of thousands of dollars into the technology that we can now literally hold in our hands. I mean, that's mesmerizing. And then, of course, social media. Look how social media has changed the landscape of how people communicate around the world. In fact, it's made the world so small, and we're able to communicate with one another in ways we never even imagined possible back in the day, but now we can. Well, tell you something, the financial world is about to change. And the way in which information is transferred around the world is about to change. The speed at which it changes and the method at which it changes. Not only that, the level of security with where that information is actually moved. And when you talk about distributed ledger technology and all of the attributes of it, the immutability part alone, and the fact that you cannot go around and corrupt these ledgers. I mean, think of this. Since Ripple has come out, XRP has come out, not 72 million ledgers without one single mistake. That is absolutely insane when you think about it. And the transactions, truly. Now, think about your digital IDs and what your passports are going to look like, what your driver's license are going to look like. How about your personal ownership of property? What's that going to look like when they're utilizing fungible tokens and restricted non-fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens and on and on? Look, you can just see how amazing this is going to change the way the world works. Now, why wouldn't you think to yourself, well, I just wonder, what if I just put a little bit aside in here and see just where it goes? But you know what, guys? Most people are completely oblivious to it or are too prejudiced about it to do it. And they just literally have no problem getting on. They spend more time arguing about whether or not, hey, you know, your coffee cups are the things you should be caring about, because God only knows you bought that coffee cup. You could be supporting slave labor, don't you know? I mean, really, let's be not so darn ridiculous in our thinking. That is just the most ridiculous kind of foolishness that people get caught up in. You see, they get caught up in the argument and they lose perspective. They lose that ability to kind of have a little foresight of what's coming down the road and how monumental the impacts are genuinely going to be. And they can't see beyond those blinders the levels of opportunity. Look, there are technologies that are going to come out of the application of these things that we haven't even touched the surface on, that are genuinely going to change the way in which the world works. Now, you think of the metaverse, and you think of how that is going to have such a massive impact. There are Fortune 500 companies right now investing tens of millions of dollars in virtual real property. Virtual property in the metaverse. Fortune 500s investing right now. And you think we're taking a risk? These big whales, and by the way, whales are moving today on XRP. But needless to say, they're investing amounts that our minds can't really take in terms of what they believe is going to happen in the future. And guys, just today, we're seeing all of these, you know, new patents coming out with respect to this distributed ledger technology. One of our subscribers here had sent me a link to the patent office. I was doing some searches on there. And I literally saw thousands of new patents being filed by major banking systems like Goldman Sachs, like JP Morgan, like Wells Fargo, like Bank of America, all within the last 6 months for the utilization of distributed ledger technology. And you're telling me that they're not going to have any applications for that going forward? Guys, come on. Let's not be that naive. Let's not miss out on probably one of the best opportunities of our lives in a generational way. And let's not allow our prejudice to cloud our judgment. Look, prices are going to bounce all over the place. But one day, you're going to see such a major explosion in this space, and the adoption is truly going to be mind-blowing and institutional, and we need regulation for that for sure, but a fair and balanced regulation. And when it comes, you're going to see all the risk and opportunity in this space going to dry up just like that. And why is that? Because when institutional adoption comes in, guys, the risk is going to come way, way down. And when the risk comes way, way down, what comes down with it? The opportunity for reward. I'll tell you what, the time to get in my opinion, is when it's really nascent like it is now. And we may not be trailblazers in terms of cutting the trail, but we are certainly pioneers right now in this space, taking our wagons out west. Go west, young man, young lady, because I'll tell you what, that's the new frontier. That's where we're going to see major changes in the way the world works. And I believe you're going to see the greatest wealth transfer that we have ever seen in generations with this new change in our financial system. And it is going to be absolutely amazing. So guys, let me just take a few seconds to talk about our coaching program for those who don't know. With this next bull run coming up, you are definitely going to want to have your plan in place. And what our coaching program is, that is where you and I can meet personally one-on-one for 1 hour over Zoom. And during that time, I share with you our personal experience in that last bull run and what enabled Judy and I to actually see some significant financial success. I also share with you the mistakes we made so that you don't fall into the same pitfalls that we did. We work together to develop your exit strategy. We take a look at your portfolio to make sure that it's balanced towards your goals, and we can even help you get your assets off an exchange and onto a hardware wallet, along with delivering to you some amazing techniques that will really help you in this space. Now, the cost of that is $250, and if that's something that interests you, you write me right there at coaching@thedigitaloutlook.com and we'll get you all booked in. So guys, this is the video I have for you today, and as always, I truly hope that you enjoyed it. Now, I want to invite you to join the conversation and drop your comments right down there in the comments section. Open it up to the community and start a discussion. Now, many of you know I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice, but if you found value in it, if you'd hit that like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Hey, don't forget to hit that notification bell down there, because as you know, information in this space changes lightning fast, and I'd like to get that information out to you as soon as possible. And on top of that, I don't want you missing out on any of our regularly released videos. Now, if you're one of the thousands of people who have been watching these videos, but you haven't yet subscribed, would you do the channel a favor and join this community? We would really love to have you on board. So, in the meantime, and in between time, stay safe, be blessed, and I'll catch you in the next one.